Hi guys, it's Mr. B here, and on today's video we're going to have a first look at 3 different types of sentences, okay? And we're going to look how we can spot those different types of sentences or how we can use them. And the first sentence that we're going to look at is a nice simple sentence which we'll all be able to write anyway already, okay? So a simple sentence. Now, when I'm talking about these sentences today, we're going to be looking at what we call a simple sentence, a compound sentence, and a complex sentence. Now, a lot of time people think simple sentences tend to be short. Now, simple sentences do tend to be shorter than other ones, but sometimes you can get quite long simple sentences. So a simple sentence doesn't just mean a short sentence, because you can get short sentences that are different types. What a simple sentence is and how we need to spot it is these 2 rules here, okay? So we have an example of a simple sentence here. They all played together. Now, what a simple sentence has is one complete idea that makes sense. So they all played together. We all know what that sentence means, what's happening in it. We call this one complete idea a main clause. Now, main clause is another word for a simple sentence, but you don't have to worry about that for the minute. But if you remember it, brilliant, okay? So it's one complete idea and it doesn't have any conjunctions in, okay? No coordinating conjunctions or subordinating conjunctions. Now, if you're thinking, whoa, Mr. B, wait, I don't know what a conjunction is, don't worry, because I'm going to mention some different types of conjunctions for our other types of sentences, so I'll tell you what they are then, okay? And there will be another video going up. It's not up at the time of recording this, but it will be up after this, that will look at conjunctions on their own, so you can have a look at that one when it is up. So one simple sentence is a sentence that has no conjunctions and one complete idea. They all play together. I like pizza. I always go to food when I think of these. It must be because I've just finished school and I'm rather hungry. Okay, I like pizza. I went to the park. She played with the horses. Okay, all those sentences, simple sentences, just one idea. It's telling us one piece of information, which is our main clause, and there's no conjunctions. So that's a simple sentence. Simple. Okay, now let's have a look at compound sentences. And now we're going to look at what we call a compound sentence. Now, the word compound means 2 things together, okay? When scientists use compounds, there's 2 things together. So when we're looking at the word compound sentence, we can think in our head, oh, that must mean bringing 2 things together. So, these are our rules for a compound sentence, okay? I'll go over the rules, then we'll have a look at our example. So a simple sentence had one idea, what we call a main clause. A compound sentence has more than one idea, okay? Can be 2, can be more in some sentences, but normally we're going to be looking at 2 different ideas. So they're going to have 2 main clauses, 2 complete ideas that make sense on their own, and it's going to have a coordinating conjunction in. Now, I've put a couple of coordinating conjunctions here. Okay, conjunction's a word that we use to join things together in sentences, and these ones are called coordinating conjunctions. There are a couple more, but the main ones that we're going to be using for the minute are these ones. So these are the ones we can remember. And, but, or, and so. Okay, so those are the ones that we're looking at. So it has to have one of these in, and if we use one of these, it means that we're going to have more than one idea, main idea, one main clause. So let's look at our example. She was hungry, so she had dinner. So let's have a look. Has it got more than one main clause, so more than one idea? She was hungry. That's one, okay? She had dinner. That is another one. Let's look at our second rule. Has it got a coordinating conjunction? Well, so is a coordinating conjunction, so we have one there in the middle. Now, this rule can be tricky to see, but this one is quite easy, okay? If we have one of these in, then we have a coordinate conjunction, so we have a compound sentence. Now, it's called a compound sentence because what we're technically doing is we're putting 2 simple sentences together. We're joining those 2 main clauses, those 2 simple sentences together using our coordinating conjunction. So let's have a look. She was hungry could be a simple sentence on its own because it would have one idea and it would have no conjunctions. And let's move on to the second part of it. She had dinner is idea on its own, a main clause, it makes sense. So that could be a simple sentence because it's got no conjunction either. And we join them together using this. And that's what a compound sentence is. So we could use another one. Let's rub our example out and let's write another example. Let's use but. So let's have a look there. Let's say he wanted to win the race. He wanted to win the race. That would be a simple sentence on my own if I want to, but I'm using a compound sentence. So now what I'm going to do is use one of my conjunctions to add it on. So let's use but, like I said I was going to. So we'll circle that. We've got my coordinating conjunction in. He wanted to win the race, but his car was too slow. He wanted to win the race, but his car was too slow. So let's have a look. We've already got our coordinate conjunction. Have we got more than one idea? He wanted to win the race, one idea. That's a simple sentence. We worked that out. That's one main clause. Let's have a look at this second one after, where we've got our coordinating conjunction of but. His car was too slow. That makes sense on its own. That's a main clause. That could be a simple sentence. So we've joined our two simple sentences together using this conjunction. So we do have more than one idea. So this is what we call a compound sentence. See if you can think of some of your own now. Now what we're going to look at is a complex sentence. I don't know why I left a little gap there, as if you were going to pause and have a think of one, but you can if you want, okay? But we're going to look at a complex sentence now. So let's do that now. Now, I don't know if that click transition worked at all, because first time I've ever done one, and I don't know if I was in the right spot. Probably looked terrible. You can tell me in the comments. Okay, but now what we're going to look at is the last type of sentence for today is our complex sentence, okay? So this is our most advanced sentence that we are looking at, okay? Now I'm going to say a few things here that'll sound a little bit strange, a little bit hard maybe, that you think, oh, that's going to be really hard to learn, but don't worry, this is the first time we're looking at these sentences. I'm going to tell you an easy way to recognize them, but the information I'm going to give you is good to have there, because in the next couple of years it's going to really be helping you to understand how these work. So we're just looking at it for now, and if you can remember the words, that's brilliant. All we've got to do is remember the tips I'm going to give you at the end for how to recognize the sentences. So this complex sentence, okay, we have here, I'm going to read the example first this time. We couldn't go to the park because it was raining. Okay, now here are our rules. So we still need to have a main idea. We might have more than one, but we have to have at least one, our main clause, something that makes sense on its own. But we also have in a complex sentence is some extra information that doesn't make sense on its own. And we call this a subordinating clause, not a main clause, a subordinating clause. Now that's the bit that sounds complicated, but it's going to be really simple when I show you what that is, okay? And then the thing that's the big real help to help us see a complex sentence is our subordinating conjunction. So remember, we had coordinating conjunctions for our compound sentences. Our complex sentences have subordinating conjunctions. And there are lots of subordinating conjunctions, loads of them out there, but I'm just going to focus on these four for now. Those are the four. If we're first starting, let's get used to these ones, and then we can add loads more when we have perfected these ones. So they are because, if, when, that. So let's work our way through the rules, and I'm going to work backwards this time, okay? Because I'm a bit backwards, obviously. So we're going to be looking at the subordinating conjunction. So because, if, when, that, let's see, has my sentence got one in? Yes, it has. It has because. Now, we've got that because. Let's work our way back. Do we have some extra information that doesn't make sense on its own? Now, it might not look it, but we do. Okay. If I underline here, because our subordinating clause, our extra information, includes our little subordinating conjunction. So let's read this bit that I've underlined. Because it was raining. Because it was raining. Does that make sense on its own? Now, it's not gobbledygook. I haven't wrote like pan, shoe, car, running. That doesn't make sense at all. okay? But what I have done here, because it was raining, I know what the words mean, but if I ran up to you in the street and I went, because it was raining, you'd ask me a question, wouldn't you? You'd say, what? Because it was raining what? You'd probably ask us why I'm running up in the street and shouting at you, but you'd say, what? You'd need extra information. It doesn't make sense unless you know what's happened because it's raining, okay? So that's why it doesn't make sense. And then we have our main piece idea here. Our main piece of information, we couldn't go to the park. So again, that's like our simple sentence, isn't it? We couldn't go to the park. Simple sentence, doesn't have a coordinate conjunction. It's our main clause, okay? So we have all three here. So we have ourselves a complex sentence. So let's make one together because this one is obviously a little bit harder. Okay, and I'm going to show you an easy way firstly to make one. Okay, and an easy way to make one is just think of this last rule here. I need to add a subordinating conjunction. And if you add a subordinating conjunction with some extra information, you are going to be topper, okay? You are going to be okay. So firstly, I'm going to think of my main idea. Let's have a think of a sentence. I mentioned I was hungry earlier on. Let's talk about Nando's. Let's have a cheeky Nando's. Okay. I will go for a social distance Nando's. Okay, I will go for a Nando's. So there's my main clause. That could be a sentence, couldn't it? I'll go for Nando's. That would be a simple sentence, got no conjunctions. Now, if I want to write a complex sentence, I'm just going to think of that idea, then think, right, I'm going to put my subordinating conjunction in. Let's just pick one. Let's pick if. I will go for a Nando's if. And then now I just got to think, how can I finish that sentence? I will go for a Nando's if Mr. B is always cheap. So it's going to be you pay. I will go for a Nando's if you pay. Okay, so now, because I put in a subordinate conjunction with some extra information in, our if, I know for a fact I have a complex sentence without having to worry about these. Okay, so these are complicated, and when we practice these loads, we will know these off the back of our hands because we're amazing. But at the minute, as long as we know we put our subordinating conjunction on with some extra information, we're good, we've got one. So I will go for Nando's if you pay. Does that make sense on your own? Again, if I run up to you in the street, still a little bit loony, and go, if you pay, you would say, if you pay what? If you pay for what? What's going to happen if you pay? You need more information, so it doesn't make sense. So without having to think about whether it makes sense or not, I just finished my sentence off. Because I'd used one of these, I was good to go. So let's have a quick little recap of our sentences, and I'm going to give you the main tips that you need. Okay, so let's work our way from there. We had complex, we had compound, sentence, and we had simple. Forgive me for my not amazing writing. I'm trying to write it as quick as I can. So complex sentence, compound sentence, simple sentence. So here's our tips to be able to write them, to be able to see them. I'm going to put these here because we'll need them. And, but, or, so. Okay, so a simple sentence has no conjunctions. If you see a sentence with no conjunctions in, then it is a simple sentence. Now, we don't know all of the conjunctions that are out there. We only know these ones at the minute, okay? But if we spot these ones, we know we have a simple sentence. If we don't spot any of them, Mr. B. Compound sentence. Compound sentence, we're looking for coordinating conjunction. Those there, and, but, or, so. There are a couple of more. Those are the main ones that we are looking at the minute to start off with. Coordinating conjunction. So I've got those rules about my main idea, my main clause, and joining two together. But if I've got one of these in, jobs are good now. More than likely, got a compound sentence. And a complex sentence, we have a subordinating. So as you can see, very smart people have come up with very complicated words for things that are quite simple really when we think about them. And a complex sentence, if we have one of these in, it's a complex sentence. And again, there's a lot more of these that we can learn and we can find as we get older and as we practice this more. But if we got these in, jobs are good. And so if I said to you, write a simple sentence, if you just write a sentence with one idea, no conjunctions, you're good. If I say to you, can you write me a compound sentence? Write a sentence with one of these in and your 2 pieces of information. Brilliant. And if you want a complex sentence, we're going to add one of these in. Okay? And that's the easy way to spot the different sentences. It sounds really complicated. When you think about it, not really that complicated. I hope that's helped with your sentences for you, your grown-ups, anyone who needed the help. Until next time, see you later. Hope you enjoyed that video, guys. As the saying goes, I think you've got to smash that like button if that helped you, and I hope it did. If there's any questions or anything else that I can help you with, you can put it in the comments below. I try and help out, or you can contact me on Mr. Biggins123 on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, and I'll try and help you if I can. Okay. Obviously, subscribe as well. You'll see all the videos as they come up, and they might help you with other things that you are doing with your work as well. Until next time, see you later and stay safe.